Dear Pastor Bob, do you think Christians can be called to live a life of Job? Why would God desire for someone to live their life in a place of poverty for more than a season? I struggle with the idea of people operating a ministry out of a place of poverty. I see so many people complaining about their ongoing and continuous financial needs, yet they say God has called them to be unemployed so that they can do ministry full time, even though they can't pay their bills. Do you think there's something to be said for having one's house in order before being able to lead? Absolutely. I've run across people like this all the time, and it's why I have such a difficult time raising money, and for the homeless ministry I have to. And it's difficult, and I put it off, and I think, how can I phrase this so it doesn't sound like I'm begging? And I realize, and people keep telling me, that you have to give people an opportunity to give because they want to and they'd like to be involved, and I certainly need them to be, especially this time of year. It gets a little close. But on a personal level, I have not been employed by a church. I've always made my money on the side, doing whatever I can. I do a lot of voiceover work. I've had a lot of projects in the past that have brought in money, and pretty much all of them are drying up these days. I'm 65, and I'm faced with the possibility of probably having to draw a little bit of an income from the ministry. I hate doing it. It's my first time. But I understand that whole concept of, like Paul said, he was a tent maker. He forged his own way. And this whole idea of full-time ministry, dude, it's ridiculous. Can I say it any more plainly? Anytime your eyes are open and you're awake and you're moving, you're in full-time ministry. Enough said. I think we miss some of the best opportunities in life because we keep looking for ministry when it's right there all around us. You have people that, and this is one of my pet peeves, that say we need a missions trip. Let's go to this country, or let's go to this large city and let's reach the people. And yet they're not even involved in their own hometown. I can't get people to work with us in the homeless ministry. I don't think we've had any churches except for one that comes like once a month. I don't think we've had any churches that have shown up for more than 2 times, even though they promised to be there more. And that's true with most of our volunteers. I think we burned them out probably. But this whole idea of missions out there, the whole idea of full-time ministry, the whole idea that ministry isn't around me, it's out there somewhere, is absolutely stupid. There, you heard it from me. Because it isn't what God called us to do. He told us to be a light in the darkness everywhere. He said, be ready at any time to give a quiet and reverent answer to anyone who asks you about the hope you have within you. That means that you have to be living with them for them to see the hope and ask you about it. That takes time. The homeless ministry, I've been doing it almost 13 years now. Some people have been there almost the whole time, and they're just now starting to trust me. You see, it's about relationships. It's about, blooming where you're planted. And I always figure that if I'm really struggling financially on a personal level, I'm doing something wrong. It's usually the case. Whenever I have a difficulty with the finances coming in, I get on my knees and say, okay, Lord, let's talk about this. And I'm usually kind of on the wrong path. So finances are such a tricky thing. And, I see families that are on the mission field. And I understand that sometimes that's where God calls you to be, and there are people that support you. And then their children do it, then their grandchildren do it, and it's almost that it's handed down and expected, and this is the way we live. Not necessarily the case. It's so important, folks, that that first of all, that we understand that we're responsible for our finances before God. If you're single, you have maybe some more opportunities. If you're married, your first responsibility is to your family, and part of that is financial. If you're not paying the bills, husbands, go to work. Bring in some money, take care of your family first, and then see what God may have for you to do. Some people say, wow, I didn't realize I'd have such a mission field at my job. Really? Because that's the way God designed it to be. So this whole idea of full-time ministry, can we just get rid of that? Because it doesn't exist. Full-time ministry, biblically, is you with your eyes open, moving forward and encountering people around you. That's full-time ministry. So yes, you're called to full-time ministry. And yes, get to work. God bless you. Have a great day.